Today's tutorial is for a very easy yet functional pattern. This is a book wrap. It is from Belmore Boutique. And this pattern was designed to be released with the new pre-order that's open from J&R Edwards that features a lot of different book prints. This print that I'm using today is also from J&R Edwards. This pattern only has two pieces, and then if you want, you can have a piece of ribbon or fold over elastic to use as a closure. This pattern comes together really quickly. It's a fun sew, and it's designed to fit most hardback books here in the United States, and it's designed so that it can kind of accommodate skinnier or thicker books without making any adjustments to the pattern. This book wrap would be great if you want to just add a nice touch to your bookshelf by having beautiful prints on your books. It would also be great for gift giving if you're giving a book, or if you would want to protect your book cover, or if you buy a book and it's already kind of had the cover damaged. This is a great way to decorate it cheaply, easily, and quickly. With this pattern, the main thing you want to do is really pay a lot of attention to your pattern piece. So let's look at that pattern piece and let's go over some of the features on it. When you get your pattern piece, you're going to have to tape the pieces together. You're going to have the diamonds that match up with the corresponding letters. After you get this pattern piece taped together, you're going to find several marks that you're going to need to use when sewing this. First thing, you're going to find a fold line here. This is a fold line for the exterior, but this is going to be the cut line for the lining. Your lining will start out shorter than your exterior. So for my exterior piece, I'm going to have my fabric right sides up. I'm going to lay the pattern piece down right sides up, and I'm going to cut the full piece out. For the lining piece though, and this matters a lot more if your print's directional. If your print's not directional, it's not as important. But if your print directional, you have to make for sure that on this one, this tapered edge is going to the right. On your exterior, that tapered edge has to go to the left. If you get confused, just think of it this way. You want your pattern pieces to be able to be sewn right sides together. That tapered edge has to match up right sides together for you to be able to sew it right sides together. Keep that in mind when you're using a directional print and cutting. So for my exterior piece, right sides up, the tapered edge is to the left. For the lining, it's going to be shorter than the exterior because I'm going to fold this piece back and cut it out. And on this one, that tapered edge is to the right. On this pattern piece, I also have the markings for my fold over elastic. For the fold over elastic, I'm going to take my exterior piece, and for me, all I do is I make the marks on the wrong side at the top and the bottom just so I'll know where that fold over elastic piece goes. As far as your materials go, this book wrap is not intended to be used with a lot of thick material, so this isn't the pattern that you would want to use with your vinyls or a lot of heavy interfacing. For mine, I'm using that print from J&R Edwards, and I'm using it in a cotton canvas. Their cotton canvas is very sturdy and stable, so I'm not adding any interfacing at all. If you're using material that was kind of a thinner or more flimsy material, you probably would want to interface with the SF101, but definitely keep it out of the seam allowances just so you can have really nice edges on your book wrap when it's done. The book wrap does not need structure. The book, once you put it inside the book wrap, is what's going to provide the structure. So now that we have the two pieces cut out, we've talked about the interfacing. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take both my lining and my exterior piece. I'm going to go to the edge that is not tapered, so just a straight edge here on the side, and I'm going to mark a line. This is a 1/2 inch in. Then what I'll do is I'll go over to the iron, and then I'll press this raw edge to that line. That means that it'll end up being just a 1/4 inch folded over. I'm going to do that on the lining and the exterior. Both of those will get that piece folded over to that line. For a 1/4 inch fold is what you're looking at. So you draw your line a 1/2 inch and fold the raw edge to meet that line. On my exterior piece, I'm going to draw one other line. I'm going to take my pattern piece back out, and this line here, that was the cut line for the lining, now it's going to be the fold line for the exterior. So I'm just going to trace it on here because at a later step, I will be folding this material right sides together and sewing these sides on that fold line. So I go ahead and mark it now just so it's taken care of. Those are the things that we need to do to get this pattern started. So what I'm going to do, and so I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to use a glue stick to kind of help me secure this and fold it down and iron it in place so I have a finished edge on both the exterior and the lining. I have the edge of the exterior and the lining folded down to that line I made. I did use a glue stick to secure mine, and then I used the iron to kind of help that glue set. But if you don't like to use glue, you could definitely use double-sided tape, or you could just use clips, because what we're going to do now is we're going to top stitch on the exterior and the lining this edge we just folded down. We'll top stitch from one edge to the other. Make sure you back stitch when you start and stop. Now that I have both of those edges top stitched, I'm going to set the lining piece aside for just a minute. And I'm going to pull out that exterior and I'm going to add my fold over elastic. I'm going to place my fold over elastic right sides down, and I'm going to match it up using the marks I made from the pattern piece. I should have a little bit of overhang on both sides. If you didn't make your marks, just pull out your pattern piece and you can find them that way. Very easy. We shouldn't be pulling the elastic top. We should just be laying it, and we should have the same amount of overhang pretty much on both sides. So there's my fold over elastic, right sides together with the exterior, not pulling tight, just laying it and letting it lay flat. I'm going to baste at the top and at the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that line I made in the previous step, the line I just got from the pattern, and I'm going to fold on that line and fold the fabric right sides together. I'm just going to finger press it and it'll lay flat, but you could definitely clip if you wanted to. And I'm just going to sew down this side and down the bottom. So the top and the bottom sides, not this part here. So just right here I'll sew. So now we have the exterior prepped. It's time to put everything together. Pull out your lining piece. I'm going to place it right sides together, matching up this beveled edge first, the tapered edge first. And I already know that these aren't going to line up perfectly on the other side, so that's why I'm going to match them up here first. So to take the time to match up this edge and all along the sides. Once you have everything clipped together, it should look like this. You should also see your fold over elastic if you're using it hanging out of the top. If you're using a piece of ribbon for like a bookmark, you should have it attached at the top, but it won't be attached at the bottom. And when we sew this, make sure it doesn't get attached at the bottom. What we're going to do now is we're going to start sewing here at the top right. We're going to back stitch, use the seam allowance given the pattern, and go all along the top. We're going to pivot, go down, pivot again, go down this other edge, come across, and all the way back to this other side back stitch here. We're going to leave this part open because that is how we will turn this right sides out. Definitely make sure you use the seam allowance given in the pattern so that everything fits properly. I'm going to use my pinking shears to trim around the seams that I just sewed. If you don't want to do that, you might would at least want to trim along these corners, so that way when you turn it out, you can get nice sharp corners there on those spots. Now that I have it turned right sides out and I poke the corners, I want to take this over the iron and give it a really nice press so it lays flat. We're not going to top stitch, so the ironing is kind of an important step so that everything looks good and finished. I went ahead and steamed it flat. Let's go ahead and turn this piece. I haven't turned it yet. So I'm going to turn it right sides out, and if you want to go ahead and press again or do this before you press, you can. I'm not too worried about it. Make sure I poke out those corners nicely on both sides. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this so that this is my lining and my lining's right sides up. That means our tapered edge will be here to the right. I'm going to pull out a book and I'm going to put the front cover in this sleeve right here. So you can slide it in there, and then your tapered edge, you will just put it in there and use that fold over elastic to secure it into place. And then I have this adorable book wrap for my book. Look how beautiful that looks. It's perfect sitting on a shelf. It just looks great, great for gift giving, and it's just adorable. So it's perfect if you have a fabric that kind of fits the theme of the book, or even an inspired fabric with the book's characters. So this is the one that I just now made, but I also made one during the testing phase, and this is how it looks. Super cute. This print is also from Jane R. Edwards, as well as the lining. I used a separate lining on this one. Let me show you the lining. So you can see the lining is also from Jane R. Edwards. Super simple design. Takes no time to cut and sew. You're only cutting 2 pieces. You're sewing together in just a few minutes, and it would be a great gift to give to a book lover, or great to kind of fancy up your bookshelf. I'm going to have the link for this pattern in my description. This is from Belmore Boutique. My fabrics are all from Jane R. Edwards. I'm going to link to the current pre-order that is open now. That is a book-inspired round. So if you're a book lover like me, you'll find plenty of prints to make book wraps, or to make a book bag, a backpack, anything you want. Jane R. Edwards is one of my favorite companies to shop with. I love their prints. I find them extremely unique, and a lot of prints that I can't find with other companies. If you have any questions about this pattern or the materials I use, definitely let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching another video of mine, and I hope you have a wonderful day.